guys, what's up? My name's Sierra and you're watching CC Bookish. Okay, so I'm going to film for you guys my July wrap up. I have a total of 17 books here for you guys. We're gonna go do this in order of the least, like the 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. There were no 1-star, there were no 2-star books, so let's start with the 3-star book. I'm not gonna go into too many detail because some of them are my BookTube wrap up books, so if you guys want to check those out, I'll link the video down in the description below. So let's get started. So the first 3-star book was Diary of a Kid, Old School. This was one of my BookTube books. So this book follows our main character Greg Heffley as he's going on a camping trip with his school, and it's about when his grandfather moves into his house. It's just him telling a story about how they want him to go back to the old school ways without technology and all that kind of thing. And it's just, Diary of a Kid, so it's like a little diary with little illustrations. So that was my first 3-star. My next 3-star read was Diary of a Kid, the third wheel. This was Greg Heffley when he was going to a school dance, and he ended up being the third wheel with his best friend Riley and their date Abigail. And this was a super cute book. I love Diary of a Kid, and same thing, just a little diary illustrations kind of thing. And the next book I have here is Till Death by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the first mystery thriller Jennifer L. Armentrout book I've ever read, and I enjoyed it. I give it 3 stars. Obviously it's 3-star section, and this one got a little beat up because I was reading by the pool. This book follows our main character. Our main character Sasha, she leaves home for 10 years and comes back, and when the groom, the person who attacked her 10 years ago, seems to be making a reappearance, it's about the story of trying to figure out what's happening. And beyond that, I'm not going to tell you because it'll ruin everything, but I really enjoyed this one as well. The next book I read was Immaculate by Caitlin DeWillard. This follows our main character, Nina. And at 17, she gets pregnant through immaculate conception, and no one in her family except for her mother and her best friend believe her. And it's like, it was telling the story, and it also delved in topics of people like butting into business that doesn't concern them. And it shows how weak a family could be, and it really showed her progression as a person, and it showed how much she had to go through, and it was a really nice story, and I very much enjoyed it. Also read Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. I enjoyed this book. I didn't love it like everyone else did, but it wasn't a bad book. This follows our 2 main characters, Safia and Isut, and they're 2 best friends, and they're both witches. Safia is a truth witch, which means she can tell if someone's lying, and being that power is super rare, a lot of people try to kidnap her, and it's about Isut and Safia's escape from where they're from, and it has a lot of other elements in it. And it was an enjoyable book. I will continue on with the series, but it just wasn't I don't think it deserved all the hype that it got, but it was a pretty good book. So now I'm going to go into my 4-star pile, and let's start with This Is Really Happening by Erin Chack. This is a BuzzFeed author. She works at BuzzFeed, and told the story of how at 19 she was diagnosed with cancer, and it just tells her story from there, and it was hilarious, and I loved learning about someone's life in just such a amusing way. And this book had me actually laughing out loud. I was sending screenshots of the book to my friend, and we were laughing because it was honestly hilarious. The next book is Everyone Sees the Ants by A.K.A. King. This is my first A.K.A. King book. This follows our main character. He's being bullied, so his mother decides to take him on a 2-week vacation to her brother's house, where in his dreams he meets up with his grandfather like he did for the last 8 years, and tries to free him from where he's stuck in the jungle. And he meets a girl, and learns to come out of his shell. And it's a really nice book, a really nice story that talks about depression and the importance of family, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices for each other, and I really enjoyed this book. The next book is The Last Star by Rick Yancey. This is the 3rd book in the 5th Wave trilogy. I enjoyed this book. I can't tell you much about it, but the 5th Wave was about the zombie apocalypse coming in 5 different waves, and the story just continues on from there, and I really enjoyed this trilogy, so I think everyone should pick it up. Next book I have is The Love Affairs of Nathaniel P. This is a story about a guy named Nathaniel, and it tells stories about his relationships and how his relationship dynamic, and it just opens up some really nice discussion topics, and I really enjoyed this, so this is another good one. The next book is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is the first book in the Diviners trilogy, I believe, by Libba Bray, and it follows our main character, and she has these kind of powers that a lot of people don't have. So when something starts to happen, when she moves in with her uncle in New York, she has to use those powers to try and figure out what's going on. And I very much enjoyed this. It was kind of like magical realism, like mystery aspect to it that I really enjoyed. And this cover is like gorgeous, and I had this book forever. So I decided to pick it up this month, and I really enjoyed it. The next, well, I truly have all the first 4 books in the Heroes of Olympus series, but we're just gonna, talk about this specific one right now. The others, I think the Mark of Athena was a 5, and the House of Hades was a 4. So the Son of Neptune and the House of Hades are both here, and this Heroes of this, the Heroes of Olympus series follows our 3 main. Well, the first book, The Lost Hero, follows our 3 main characters, Jason, Piper, and Leo. And when Jason wakes up, he has no memory, and Piper and Leo are his best friends. So they just go on from there, go on their demigod quests, and they find other demigods, make it to Camp Half-Blood, so on and so forth, while still trying to figure out what's going on with Jason. So yeah, but this is a continuation of that, but I enjoyed all of these books. Next book that was a 4-star for me was History Is All You Left Me by Adam Severa. This is the first Adam Severa book I've ever read, and I enjoyed it. This book follows our main character. In the past, he was with his boyfriend, and they were very happy, and in the present, his boyfriend passed away. His now ex-boyfriend passed away, and he was with a new boyfriend, and at his funeral, his ex and his new boyfriend meet up, and it's about how they come together to learn to get over the boyfriend. And it's told in like dual perspectives, so one's past, one's present. So it's really interesting, and it was a really enjoyable book, and I really enjoyed all the characters and the stories, so that was great. So now coming into my 5-star books of the month. Oh, you can start seeing them piling up. Yeah, there's a lot of books I read this month. Next book I read this month was Sex Criminals Volume 2, Two Worlds, One Cop by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. And I enjoyed this very much. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super funny. I love the graphics. Everything about it is just great. The first book follows our 2 main characters. When they orgasm, they come into this kind of time frozen world, and they're like time frozen around them. So when our female main character, Susie, she works at a library. When the library starts to go into foreclosure, she and her boyfriend decide to rob a bank to save her library, and the story continues from there. The next book I read was The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. This book follows 4 main characters, and it just shows how the 4 of them connect to become one, like how they all connect, and it's set in Alaska. And it was a super cute read. If you guys want to hear more about it, it's also in my book too, but that yeah, this is super funny. The book's upside down. Alaska, and it's super cute, and I really enjoyed seeing all the different characters and how they connected. The next book I read was The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, which I already told you about, but it's the series that follows the Percy Jackson series, but I already told you about it. So the last book I read for this month was Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo, and I absolutely loved this book. I read it on my way to Jamaica, and I had so much fun reading it, and I missed all the characters and everything, and this inspired me to actually read the Grisha trilogy, because this was so amazing. And I know the Grisha trilogy isn't as good as this one, but with those new covers, I can't wait to read it. But the first book, Sister Girls, was basically a heist novel, and it follows 6 main characters, and they were all kind of morally gray characters, so they weren't like the good guys, but they weren't necessarily doing a good thing, and it was just, it was so amazing. But this follows what happens at the end of the first book in the duology, and it was just such a great wrap up, and I love everything about these books. Well, that's it, and I know you guys already see this stack right here, but for my wrap up, alright, Nicholas, these are all the books that I read in the month of July, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have read any of these books, please tell me down below. If you guys are interested in reading them, please check them out. They're all super amazing books. I had such a great reading month this month. I do blame some of it on the booktubeathon because I was reading like wildfire during that week. Anyways, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe down below. My name's Kira. You're watching CC Bookish, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!